Hey y'all, welcome to Girl Meets Green. My name's Norma, your host or whatever, and today we're talking All-American Homecoming, All-American HOCO. You know the deal, the vibes. I need to catch up on All-American. I think I maybe got to like somewhere in season 2, so I need to get back on that. I know that things have happened. I know that a certain somebody has passed. Like, I'm up to date on that. On relationships, the vibes, I've kept up to date, but I haven't like watched. But anywho, let's get into All-American Homecoming. I clearly took a very long time to watch because I watched 1 and 2 when 2 came out on Netflix. Honestly, when it was announced or whatever, I was just like, who really cares about Simone? That was me. I don't know if that was a lot of people's sentiments, or if it was just because I hadn't watched past season 2. Because I was like, Simone doesn't really play a huge role. I don't know if it was season 2. I'm not sure where I left off. I know that I did leave off. I think I left off around the time when Jordan and Simone kind of start their thing. Like, she's pregnant and he's like getting a crib for his house and all this stuff. Or for her house. Like, he's trying to take care of her. And I think I may have made it up to the wedding, but I'm not sure. Because, like, I remember the wedding, but I don't. Does that make sense? Like, I remember it happening, but I don't remember like details and things from the episode. So I don't know if I made it that far or if maybe I just like heard about it, but I think I made it that far. My memory is literally atrocious. It's embarrassing. It's atrocious. But anywho, it's okay. I'm not here for your judgment on my memory. So moving right along. I was hooked on the show through Royale's TikTok. Now listen, royalty of posting. I hope they're paying them as their like social media person, because killing it, just killing it. So we'll start off with the main characters. We have Simone, we have Damon. The show, from what I gather, is supposed to be based on the two of them. It is, but they're like the main characters. We're following her journey as a tennis player, his journey as a baseball player. So, Simone's story begins in All-American. As I said, I think I need to watch it and catch up. And I'm assuming there's like more Simone, so you're like more bonded with her. Because I don't see them making this show based on the knowledge I had of her as far as I've watched. But anywho. She's a tennis player. She's coming in as a walk-on, I believe. Her mom is her mom is like, I don't know what's wrong with her mama. They fix it later, but like her mom is also stuff. So basically she finds out her parents are not paying for her room and board, only her tuition. So she's living with her aunt while staying on campus with her friends, etc., etc. So the show follows her journey. She comes into this show dating Jordan, and eventually they break up. I think they both just didn't want to admit they had feelings for other people, and it's hilarious that they get mad at each other and that she's mad at Layla, because I ain't gonna be a pot calling the kettle black, because you're feeling somebody too. Like, it just is what it is, it happens at that age. I think I was just very like understanding, like, not saying I wouldn't be hurt, but I wasn't like, how dare they, or blah blah blah, like, it was like, it makes sense, it's what we're dealing with right now, like, whatever, it's all good. So anyways, they break up. By then Damon's dating someone else, so they don't happen. But anyways, Simone's story, she's a walk-on trying to get on the team. She gets on the team. She actually like gets towards the top of the team or whatever. And so then we have Thea, who is on the team with her but kind of competing against her. Thea feels like she's the best and she wants to remain the best. And so there is a scene, they slowly become friends. And then at one point, Thea's going against this girl that's like, she has to beat her. It's like this whole thing. The girl ends up sabotaging her and like cutting all her rackets. So Thea uses Simone's racket, but turns out in tennis, like professionally, like collegiate level, professional level, your rackets are like specified to you. How much, if they're heavy, if they're light, what the grip is, what the handle is, like it's all catered to you. But she's able to win with Simone's racket. My only assumption is that that's why she continues to use it, because I was kind of confused why she wouldn't just get new ones. So unless they have to pay for their own rackets, and because I think it turns out she doesn't come from a ton of money, but unless they have to pay for their own rackets, I don't see why she wouldn't have just bought like new ones for herself or had hers rethreaded or whatever the heck you do with tennis rackets. So anywho, she ends up injuring her hand over time. And so now she's on like injury leave. And then this one chick on the team spreads a rumor that Simone did it on purpose, which makes no sense because like she wasn't forcing her to use her racket, you know? But yeah, that like whole thing spreads around. This girl on the team is extra as hell. It's just a mess. It was all a mess. And that's kind of Simone's story. Thea, this is how we'll connect them. Damon is feeling him some Simone, but you know, she's with Jordan, so she's not thinking about him. But like, she kind of like is like innocently, him being her friend, she's like growing close to him as a friend. And I think that attraction is there, but she doesn't like see it yet, if that makes sense. Like we all see it, but she doesn't see it. So she's not like doing anything wrong. To her, he's her friend. He's feeling her. Jordan can see it, everyone can see it. But eventually I think he's like, okay, she's with somebody. So he starts dating Thea, who, by the way, tennis was like her life. Like that was all she did. She traveled the world playing tennis. She wasn't like at school making friends. She was doing her tennis thing. So she never dated or anything like that. Her grandma or like aunt or some family member is trying to set her up with some dude that is like a friend of theirs' family member. And they set them up. They're hanging out. Thea, Simone and Nate were supposed to like go to this party with Thea to kind of like basically like stay with her to meet this guy and all this stuff. The guy's cool, so she's like, we're good, don't worry about it. They're walking out of the party. The guy tries to assault her. And Damon runs up. Let me tell you something. That scene, gold. He comes up and he's like, bruh, if you don't and Thea's like, let's just go. So they leave. Thea's messed up about that, starts blaming Simone and Nate and everybody for it because they weren't there for her, etc., etc. This brings her and Damon closer. They're friends, then they start dating, then they're loving each other. And so when Simone breaks up with Jordan, now Damon is with Thea. So Simone is like, whatever. She takes a while to tell Damon, blah, blah, blah. Also, I think... is it at the one where the tennis rackets break? I don't know. At some match, Thea overhears Damon and Simone talking. But then he like reassures her and they're still together. But then she breaks up with him later because she basically kind of feels like she's getting lost in his shadow. Like because I think to her, like the injury and everything and all this stuff going on, I think she kind of felt like she was losing herself. Like she wasn't who she normally is, you know? So she breaks up with him. So then we have Damon, okay? We're going down the line. Damon is the baseball player. Essentially, he was set to go into the MLB. He decides not to come save Brixley's program. What ends up happening with Brixley is the coach had some cheating scandal. If I understood correctly, he was making up courses for his players to take so that they were basically passing their classes, not actually going to class or something along those lines. So this coach resigns. You know how it goes, saving face and all that. And it was Simone's aunt who exposed this. So now the aunt is facing all this backlash from the school because she's the one who exposed it as a journalist. And so, you know, they're hating because they're like, you put our school on blast, blah, 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 blah. So things aren't going well for her. She works there. She's a professor. So that's what's going on with her. We also later found out that the baseball coach, played by Corey Hardrick, I can't remember his name right now, was actually like the whistleblower who sent her the information, and then like she was the whistleblower because she published it. They dated in college and broke up. Turns out her sister, Simone's mom, basically was like, you ain't worthy of my sis, leave her alone, let her be great. And he listened. He listened because I think he had gotten injured in baseball or something happened to baseball that made him try steroids. He got really sick from it. He was so embarrassed that he just quit baseball. What? I don't know, but okay, he did that. And so then they kind of rekindle, but don't, like, they wind up having sex, but then she's like, yeah, that was goodbye, not like we're here together now. And she moves on. So Damon decides to play for Brixley to like revamp the program, help the program out. And so he's struggling with the superiority complex of like, I'm here to save y'all. Why aren't y'all listening to me? You know, because the players are chilling, they're trying to have fun, whatever. And so his character grows out of that, like, you know, spoiled rich kid situation and kind of starts to understand what it's all about, essentially. Also to note, Damon is adopted by his parents. And so, that being said, we meet JR, who is a fellow teammate of his, who was also a teammate of his in some sort of summer, I don't know. You know, in high school sports, it goes beyond just playing on the high school team. You know, when you're good, you're like in all these different camps and all this different stuff going on. AAU and all that good stuff. AAU is basketball, I believe, but whatever the equivalent of that for baseball, I believe, is what they were in. They played together before, okay? That's all I'm trying to say. So they played together before. Now, JR is looking for a brother he believes he has. His mom gives him a Bible. In the Bible, there is a picture of a little boy that he remembers from when he was like a baby, like 2. And he remembers this little boy had a scar. He starts looking at Damon and he's like, you have the same scar. What's going on here? And so this whole thing starts. Eventually Simone gets clued in with JR. She's like, I don't know. And so they don't know that why the coach and her aunt broke up. So basically Simone starts to think maybe he's their baby and that's why they broke up, because they gave a baby up for adoption. And JR is like, maybe he's my brother, like blah, 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 blah. And so the aunt and coach get crossed out pretty quickly once they find out what it was that actually happened. And then eventually Damon takes a DNA test with JR, right? Because if it comes out, he's all pissed off that Simone and JR talked about it behind his back and never told him, blah, blah, blah. Drama. Damon is very dramatic in this show. But, and all of this, like, Simone and Damon really lean on each other for things throughout their lives. Damon's dad has Alzheimer's. Simone is there for him in a lot of that. So Damon's trying to figure out who his mom is. He finds out that his dad had met, like, some lady at a coffee shop. The mom mentions it was, like, some lady at a coffee shop or something along those lines. And so he's trying to talk to his dad while he's lucid, but he can't keep his cool enough to keep his dad, like, there with him in a state. And Simone had gone with him for that and all of this stuff. So basically once it comes out, him and JR take a DNA test. It says they're not brothers. So he's like, okay, not right. His dad has a lucid state where he tells him about a lady he met at the coffee shop, blah, 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 and how that's his mom and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And basically we find out that the lady at the coffee shop was JR's mom. So they end up getting together with JR's mom because he's like, maybe she has more information. And she starts crying. So it turns out they are brothers. And they're like, but what? Like, that DNA test said no. Like, what are you talking about? And so essentially, JR's sickness, he has... I forget what it's called. But he had a sickness when he was little. He still has it, but, like, it's not active. It's dormant. The sickness basically altered his DNA so much that it was no longer the DNA he was born with or something. I don't really get that, but okay. And so she was his son. Her and his dad and Damon's dad had an affair. They believe that Damon is the result of this affair. JR's dad basically couldn't handle it back then, and so they give him to who they believe is his actual dad. He had no idea. He thought both his parents were his adoptive parents, non-related. And now he's stuck with dealing with, like, his dad has Alzheimer's, so he can't really, like, confront him about it, be mad at him about it, really, he feels like, and all of this stuff. Eventually, you guys. Sorry. So Damon is pissed at JR's dad because I think his dad's name is Jerry. He's pissed at Jerry because he's like, I was a child. Like, I was a little child and you sent me away from my mom and was just like, fuck that child. Then, Damon's mom gives him a letter from his dad that his dad had written and, like, put in his will. His dad passes away. Sorry, forgot to include that. In this letter, the dad says, because of his Alzheimer's, his dad before this letter, thought that Damon was his son. So he, like, took him knowing that was his son from this affair. Thinking it was his son, he did all this testing to make sure his son, I guess, like, didn't have Alzheimer's or whatever it was. Finds out it is not his son, right? But he couldn't bring himself to tell the secret, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And like, alter the way he looked at him. And he's like, you know, I know that's messed up, but I just couldn't. So we all know what that means. Jerry gave away his own son. Jerry gave his son to some strangers, okay? Jerry was like, I had to give you up. Your brother was sick and I couldn't handle it, da-da-da. Well, when he thought he wasn't his. So he's like, you did all of that. and you gave away your own son. I am actually yours. That shit was... Damon and JR, full-blood brothers, mother and father. Damon's mom left to deal with all this mess and her husband never telling her and not feeling like she can be upset with him because the man had Alzheimer's and now he's dead. And wow, poor lady. Poor lady. Poor Damon, but like, you know, he still has the other parents and like, but for her, it's just like, damn, I'm left for fucking nothing but lies, bitch. But anywho, whole second season, Jerry, the coach, turns out has bipolar disorder, stops taking his meds, loses it, leaves to get better, is scared to come back to coach. Jerry, their dad, starts coaching. Damon's not about it. Damon doesn't want to talk to this man, don't want nothing to do with this man at all. So they're butting heads, Jerry ends up like defending him in this no-hitter thing that they like throw him out of, Damon out of. And then he was supposed to become the permanent coach. He did not. He turns it down. When Damon asks him why eventually, he's just like, I wanted to be your dad more than I wanted to be a coach. Because basically, I forget who he talks to, but it's like, you're not going to be able to be both. Like, you can't nurture your relationship with him and try to make it better and be his coach, you know? So he chooses to be his dad. How sweet. So he tells them, like, I'll be at this diner every Wednesday. No expectations, or like show up when you're ready. And cutely enough, eventually Damon ends up like inviting him to his room and he's like, I'm ready to get to know you, whatever. It's cute, we can't help it. It's cute. You know, people make mistakes, people make judgment calls based on information they have in the moment. Sometimes it's not the right information, sometimes it's not the right call, but here we are, right? What can we do to move forward? So that's that on that. I think that's pretty much these characters. Oh, no, it is not. Simone and Damon wind up sleeping together. When Damon's dad passes, I believe Simone brings him that letter from his dad, and then like he shows up at her room. For a few episodes, I think, we think it was just a kiss, and then we find out that they went all the way. I don't know why anytime I have to talk about sex, I turn into a toddler. But anyways, they went all the way. I think Nate is the only one who knows so far. Now they're both trying to figure out like what it means, what they want to do, who they want to be with. Not me forgetting an entire piece of Simone's story. So brings up with Jordan. Damon's not with Thea. Then we get introduced to Lando. Lando was on another baseball team, and Damon was his arch nemesis enemy. He wasn't playing about Damon, baby. So it turns out the coach who resigned is now the coach of Lando's team, the other school, whatever. And what happened was that coach was scouting Lando for the position Damon is in now. And so when all that went down and that coach left, no one was interested in Lando anymore. Now that Damon wanted to go to the Brixley, they took Damon over Lando. Didn't care, right? Then so yeah, they're enemies because Lando's like, you just took my spot, bro, which is like, that's not even how it works, sir. Like, sometimes that happens. Coaches recruit you, then they leave, and the coach that comes in just isn't you're not their vibe. Not fair, kind of sucks, but not Damon's fault. When Damon's biological dad, Jerry, JR's dad, starts coaching, Damon basically decides to leave, and he's gonna go to the school where the old coach is. The old coach is gonna take him. What Damon doesn't know is that basically the old coach was gonna take half of Lando's scholarship to give to Damon for Damon to be able to be on the team. So basically the coach didn't give a fuck about what that meant for Lando. Lando's not rich, Damon is. Lando wouldn't be able to afford to go to school. So when Damon leaves, Brixley has to figure it out. Oh, I forgot. The aunt takes over as like the director of the school, whatever. Like, you know, the person in charge of the school. I forget what I don't know. I forget what the name is, but she's in charge of the college now. And so when Damon leaves, the board is like, you gotta make a decision, baby. You gotta get it, girl. You gotta get it. So they take Lando to fill Damon's spot. But then the old coach who came in as assistant coach to JR's dad. I know this is complicated, but he takes back his old position, right? He's healed. He feels like he can do it. Him and JR realize that Damon doesn't want to leave, but feels like he already made his decision and he can't go back on it. So they The coach goes and talks to the old coach, and I guess they grew up together. So he's like, listen, like when we were kids, you said you would do anything for you and your son to have an opportunity, whatever. Like, he appeals to the father-son thing and is like, let him stay here so that he can like have this relationship with his dad or whatever. So he lets him. So now we have Lando and Damon, same position, at this school now. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's like, what? But yeah, we're here. This is happening. So that's how Lando ends up here. And then Lando is digging some Simone, and Simone starts falling for Lando. They're kissing. They're friends with Bennies, with benefits. And he's super sweet, you know, really cool guy from the beginning. And so that's the deal. Now we have this love triangle because Damon wants to be with Simone. So does Lando. They both let her know, you know what? We do want something serious with you, so you got to choose. And the season ends with her going to like the field, and she's like, I know what I want. It's you. But we don't see who it is. That's how it ends. So that's the deal with them. I just want to say, if we come into this and she didn't choose one of them and it's some random like, I choose me moment, I'm going to lose it. Do you hear me? I'm gonna lose it. She better make a choice. She better pick one. I'm not doing this continued back and forth, which we know is what's gonna happen. She's gonna pick one, but then the other one's still gonna be lingering and like, you know, it's just gonna be a mess. But originally, when I made my original video, I was team Simone and Damon. I was like, it just makes sense. They like have been fighting so hard to be, they like kind of wanted to be with each other, not admitting it, not seeing it, but like it was there the whole time. But I don't know. Now I'm kind of like, Lando is kind of a contender too though. Because I really like him the way he did. Because when Damon wanted to leave, Damon went to visit the other fields and the coach let him use the field. Lando recorded him and posted it on social media, making it where he had to make a decision faster, and so did his school, and that's how everything like turned out the way it did. We do find out later. And he's like, bro, like you don't understand. Like they was gonna screw me the fuck over. I had to think about me. Nobody was thinking about me. Like, they was just doing whatever they could to get you. And so they kind of become cool. And they're like, you know what? Mutual understanding. We both want her. She's going to choose. We got to accept whatever she chooses type vibes. So it's kind of cool the way they come around and, like, they're somewhat friends now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm stuck because, like, Damon and her, it has been kind of tumultuous. So it's like, do you really want to go down that route? But like they kind of do make sense, you know, things seem so easy and simple and like just with them, so I don't know. But then Lando from the beginning has been like A1 with her, you know, super helpful when they experience like the bomb threats or whatever, and just like moments like that where he knows how to like help her through situations. It's just dope. It's just dope. That's all I can say. So anyways, I don't know who I want her to choose. I don't know. I don't know. I'm so nervous. I don't know. Hopefully Damon. I'm leaning a little bit more towards Damon. It's like 55-45 type vibes, you know? I don't know. I need you guys to comment immediately, and let me know who you're thinking, who you want her to choose, whatever. All I know is I want her to choose. I don't want this I choose me bullshit. I hate when shows and movies do that. It's corny. Sure, sometimes it might be realistic. I'm not watching this for that, right? Like, we're not watching this show for Shorty to choose herself, which for me to choose me. We're watching for her to choose a guy and us to see how that goes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. I think we all know what I'm saying. I did talk about Thea. The only thing left is that she doesn't know about Simone and Damon. So we're going to see how that goes next season. I feel like she's going to choose Lando. But then like her and Damon stuff's gonna come out, and like Lando and Thea, and some people are gonna be off put, like what the heck, like what? I think Thea's gonna find out Nate knew, or I think like Keisha's gonna find out too. So Nate and Keisha are like Simone's like best friends basically, and I feel like Keisha's gonna find out, and then like Thea's gonna feel betrayed that everybody knew but her, you know, that whole tip. I feel like that's the direction it's going in. I'd be surprised if they're able to go a different route that's still like interesting and dope. Let's talk about Keisha. Like I said, Keisha is one of Simone's friends. Her dad was like in charge of the school before Simone's aunt. And he's like trying to keep Simone's aunt's job, but he's trying to keep the board happy, blah, blah, blah. He essentially eventually ends up stepping down because the board like wants her to take over because all this stuff happens. And then they start dating for a bit, but then they break up because Keisha's not happy about it. So they're kind of like, okay, maybe it's not the time. And then Simone's aunt also felt like he wasn't quite ready for it. His name is Zeke. Hold on. So his name is Zeke, because I don't remember any of these people's names. His name is Zeke. Simone's aunt's name is Amara. And Corey Hardrick's character is Marcus. So I probably should have looked those up when I was talking about them. But anyways, yeah. So Amara and Zeke, who is Keisha's dad, we're dating for a minute, but then we break up because Amara doesn't feel like he's ready. Keisha's obviously not ready for him to date. Blah, blah, blah. Keisha is pre-med, I think, because that's what her dad wants her to do, but she really wants to dance. So eventually she goes against him and like does a dance major. He comes around eventually, but she's doing her thing. Dr. Pace is her dance teacher. She becomes like a B word to her, and Keisha's working so hard, but she keeps tearing her down. Turns out she's like this terrible teacher who's like so hard on students that she causes them mental issues, their careers to fail, whole nine. So basically, she's having this thing where her students are supposed to come celebrate her. Keisha gets into contact with most of the students, and what they're gonna do is like bash her when they get there or whatever. Because what happens is, so this thing is happening, and she has her dancers perform at it, like her current student dancers. Dance that she did. There's a forbidden move at the end, and Keisha's like, I'd love if you teach it to me. She's like, I don't think you're quote ready. Basically, she's all snobby and is like, you just can't do the move, right? So Keisha is like practicing this move. She's like, I'm gonna show her I can do it. So during the tryouts or whatever, they're doing the dance. She tries to do the move. She gets injured. Turns out it is a banned move because of that specific injury. Like, it always happens. Pretty much almost guaranteed. So essentially she fails this class because of it. So the teacher tricks her into like doing the move, and then she fails this class, so she's gonna have to like take summer school for dance and all this stuff. So that's what makes her do the thing to the teacher. She doesn't end up doing it. She ends up telling her like what's gonna happen and all of that. So then the teacher is like, oh, I'm taking a hiatus, I need to reevaluate myself. We don't know if she did it to save face or if Keisha actually got to her and made her realize what she was doing, but that's Keisha. Along with Keisha, we have Cam, who is the person she starts dating in the show. They start off kind of having fun, then they get serious. Cam is from All American. As I said, not caught up, so I don't know if his role is bigger than what I've seen on the parts, like on what I've already seen on All American. But he's an enemy football player, like on a team that goes against Spencer's team, or he's on Crenshaw's team. Yeah, no, I think he played with Spencer. I don't know. They got football beef. They had football beef. I don't know how Simone gets wrapped up in that, because when Simone sees him at school, she's like, don't talk to me. Like, she got a sassy. She's like, this man ain't shit type of thing. So more must have happened, right? So I don't know. I gotta watch whatever that more is. But on this show, Simone comes around, he comes around. They actually become really good friends, and it is so stinking cute. So hear me out. He's playing football. Keisha ends up it starts off as a study thing, turns into a party. This other team shows up. They're playing basketball with Cam. They like knock him the fuck out. He's concussed. Can't play football anymore. He considers this really risky surgery to be able to play again. Keisha convinces him not to, you know, like, it's not worth it. And he eventually finds his love of singing. So he's like pursuing that. Joins the a cappella group. So they're together. It's very cute. As I mentioned, him and Simone's friendship is super, super cute. Simone decides to pledge a sorority. He's pledging a fraternity. And so they're kind of like bouncing off each other. Their probate was supposed to be a certain day. Simone had a tennis match. Basically her line sisters are like, we're not doing the probate. We're coming to support you at your match. His brothers say the same thing. Their higher-ups or whatever, I don't know how the system works in fraternities and sororities. Their higher-ups agree, they go to the tennis match, and then they surprise her with the probate afterwards, and it was such a dope scene. Fire. I'm actually gonna watch it as soon as I'm done with this video. But yeah, so they're really, really cute. They get this like bond over like pledging. So I believe the only person left to talk about is Nate, the fave, the social media guru of the crew. The real person, not the character. But yeah, so we have Nate, and Nate is dealing with their own things on campus. They find out that Keisha actually gave up, I didn't mention, Keisha is the RA where they stay. Keisha gave up her RA room to Nate so that Nate would have their own bathroom. We find this out because Whitney, I think was her name, some little B word. She's like Christian, you know, like still trying to figure it out, Christian, judgy Christian vibes, you know? And so she has a bone to pick with Nate. So she lets Nate know. She gave up her room. I don't know why you out here acting special like the campus gave this to you. And so Nate and Keisha have a discussion, you know, where Nate's like, love you for it, but I'm gonna have to fight these battles eventually. So, you know, Just let me. Nate goes for student government against their ex. So here's the deal, right? We meet Nate's ex because they've gotten back together. Then it turns out that their ex be trying to dim they shine, be hating. They was mad because the student government liked Nate's ideas, and yeah, so they break up because basically dude was like, you know, you're supposed to just be my backup, what you doing? And Nate was like, never that. The end. But anywho, yeah, so they end. Nate decides to run for student government, runs against their ex. Whitney, Nate is like using the common space for something. Whitney comes in and is like, I booked it, whoop-de-woo. And Nate's like, let's just do it together. And then Whitney kind of realizes that Nate is kind of on the same tip with spirituality. So they bond over that. Whitney runs the campaign for Nate. At one point, Nate's ex is trying to trash Nate. Whitney gets these old tweets about Nate's ex hating on Brixley. So, you know, she's like, yo, let's fight fire with fire, what's up? Nate decides to go up there to their ex and is like, I have this and I could expose this, or we can just run a fair race, leave all this trash talking out of it. And so they do. And Nate wins. And they win. Anywho, yeah, so that's Nate's deal. Oh, and Nate had a little secret admirer. The JR's fraternity, which is a fraternity that Cam is pledging. Forgot to say that JR is in a fraternity. We haven't really talked about JR. I just realized that. Okay, let's talk about JR. Oh, let me finish Nate. So Nate has a little secret admirer, ends up being the journalist for the school or something along those lines. Thinks Nate won't be into him, but he is. So they're vibing. We don't see too much of that, but they're vibing. There's a kiss and stuff. But yeah, so they're cute. Moving right back to JR. I can't believe I forgot, but it's okay. Best for freaking last because I am obsessed with JR. By the end of it, JR was my favorite. I was like, Simone, dump them all and choose JR. Like, let's go. But anyways, yeah, so JR is a vibe. He's a little fraternity brother, but he's not a player. He's monototo. He's like one woman only man. But we find out he has this ex who he was in love with. She was everything to him. Wound up cheating on him, or so we thought. When everything happens with Thea, turns out mans be doing this. Mans just be doing this on the reg. Turns out he did it to JR's ex. So JR thought she cheated, but she was actually assaulted. But as we know how it typically goes in college, she was scared to come out with it. But she ends up coming out with it with Thea. They like go to the school, whatever, and report it and all of that. So that's that. JR, like, things are getting back together for a moment, but then they're not. JR develops this like closer friendship with the girl who like runs the acapella group that Cam is in. They're vibing as BFFs. JR is like, I'm going through my hoe phase, my drinking phase, my F everything phase. Because he's dealing with a lot with Damon being his brother, finding out everything his dad did, and just kind of his mom and dad are divorcing, and he's like, what the starts finding out his dad kind of sucks up until this point. So he's like drinking, leaves baseball. He's like, all of this, you know what I'm saying? So he's doing his thing. She's like, all right, F-boy, like, let's go. Let's take it to your F-boy status. So she's trying to teach him how to like talk to girls without making them like fall for him, or without trying to go deeper and all of that. Thank God he comes out of that. JR comes back to himself, and him and this chick start dating eventually. They're very, very cute. They're very cute. Also, JR like runs his fraternity. He's like the dean. I don't know what the positions in this are, but he's running it. He got an assistant. The assistant is like, we running this old school, you know, they beating up the pledges and all of that. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm gonna offend all my little brothers and sisters out there, aren't I? And by brothers and sisters, I mean like fraternity, sorority brothers and sisters. I'm not about it. I would have punched you back and quit. Like, and it's as simple as that. My cousin pledged. I don't know how she did it, because let me tell you, like, as things come out, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. We fighting for real. I don't know you, brother who, sister who. Anyways, Cam is like getting beat down. The acapella girl catches on and talks to JR. Like, she's kind of like, this is really what y'all about? Like, this is brotherhood? Like, basically she's like, this is corny, which I agree. Why the fuck, like, what do you get out of like beating people down, making them eat dog food and weird shit? Bro, have y'all seen Sands? Whatever that freaking movie on Netflix is? Crazy. With Trevor? Absolutely not. But anywho, JR's like, you know what? Yeah, we're going to do this differently. So then his Dina pledges, takes all the pledges except Cam, because it becomes kind of obvious that it must have somehow came from Cam. Cam didn't directly, like, you know, we need to change this. He just, like, look, be down. And she was like, why you beating him down, you know? Cam finds out it's this underground thing, which BT dubs. We have Dario from Vine. Do it for the Vine. I ain't gonna do it. You know what I'm talking about? The little high schooler kid. Yeah, he's very grown now. Very, very grown. Long hair, don't care. Does his dancing thing, so he's in it. He's acting. He also performed with Rihanna, with Janet Jackson. Like, he's doing his thing, baby. That baby did his thing when it came to dancing. Anyways, he's in this. He's pledging. Cam's like, you look hurt, what's going on? And he's like, I can't tell you, dude. Like, my dude, but can't tell you. It comes out, JR's like, what the hell? Tells dude, whatever, this is done, whoop-de-woo. Whoop-de-woo. Just kidding. Alumni show up, take all the pledges, including Cam, into the forest, and they're supposed to, like, make their way up out of here. Cam shows up at the, like, championship baseball game. Sorry, I haven't done the whole baseball thing in a very long time. A little bit used to play when he was little, so, like, I was kind of in there, but I don't remember. I guess it's a championship for, like, all sports. Anyways, that final game that determines the winner of everything. He shows up, he's like, JR, what the? And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, you didn't know? And he's like, no, they took us to the forest, and now Dario, what the hell was Dario's name in the show? I don't remember, but we're gonna call him Dario. Dario's missing, we don't know where he at. So JR has to, like, leave to go find him. They get to the house. Dario's with the alumni, like, or sorry, JR's with the alumni, like, what happened? Like, tell us what's up. He's like, yo, he's in the other room, chill. They go into the room. Dude's like, arm is broken and shit. And dude's like, hey, I ain't no snitch, Dean. Whoop-de-woo. Like, doing all this extraness. Me with the whoop-de-woos. But yeah, so he's like, I ain't no snitch. I ain't gonna tell. JR's like, nah, fuck this, whatever. So he talks to his dad. His dad's like, hey, I have someone, like, on the pledging board or whatever, some dude. We'll go talk to him, see what he says. Turns out that dude is, like, an uncle to the alumni who, like, headed everything up. The alumni's like, see, now y'all all screwed. He advised me to report it. So basically, like, dude reports it like it wasn't him. So now JR, you know, it's like either the fraternity takes the fall and gets kicked off campus, or JR takes the fall. So JR's like, you know, one bad apple, blah, 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 explaining to his pledges, like, why he's gonna take the fall. So JR's gonna take the fall, probably get kicked out of fraternity, like, just everything's going to heck, you know what I'm saying? So he's gonna lose the fraternity. Then we see JR making plans because him and Damon make some, like, off-season team situation thing that, like, will take you into the MLB if you participate. So he's, like, making road trip plans where they're gonna stop whoop-de-whoop. What is it with me and whoop-de-woo? Like, what is that? But anyways, he starts bleeding from his nose, giving us a signal that his sickness is back. And I'm just like, no. God, no. You can't take the frat from him and baseball. You can't do this to him. And he just, like, wipes it off, and he throws it, and then they go to the trash, and the trash is full of, like, little bloody Band-Aids, little bloody napkins and tissues and stuff. And you're just like, dang. And that's how it ends.
Welcome back from break.
So that makes me so sad. But that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry, my thing is in the background, but I'm just going to keep talking. We're going to pretend like we can't hear it, okay? It's okay. Yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Those are my thoughts. I'm scared to see what's happening with JR. Simone better pick somebody, not herself, not some random twist. She needs to pick someone. I think she's going to pick Lando, though, and then we're going to have the whole Thea, Damon, everybody finding out thing. It's going to be a messy season, but I'm hyped. I'm so excited that they're filming or that it's coming out, whatever the heck is going on right now. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like the video if you did. Comment down below. Are you Team Damon? Are you Team Lando? I don't know what I am. I'm Team both. Let's have polygamy up in here. Throw it in. Let's do it. Just kidding. Subscribe for more content like this, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.